Welcome, everyone, to this special explainer for the Tao Zui Salon, the Flow Tao Salon. Today, we are tearing into a really fascinating report from the Zhixing Strategy. That's the Qixing Heiyi Digital Intelligence Center. And believe me, their findings are about to change everything you thought you knew about China's skincare industry. So let's just get right into it, shall we? We're focusing on this critical 2-year window from 2022 to 2024. This is the period where what used to be a quiet competition for China's massive online skincare market pretty much turned into an all-out war. For years, the answer to this question seemed, well, obvious. But the entire landscape has been completely redrawn in just the last 24 months. The old winners are not necessarily the new winners, and the answer is going to surprise you. So here's how we're going to break it all down for you. We'll get straight to the point, starting with the single biggest shift in the whole market. Then we'll dig into the data that proves it, platform by platform, brand by brand, and we'll wrap up with what all of this really means. Okay, let's start with the big picture. And at first glance, the overall market looks fantastic, incredibly healthy even. So get this, the online facial skincare category grew by a massive 19.4%. I mean, that's a huge number, but and this is a big but, the real story here isn't the growth itself. It's about where that growth actually came from, because it was not spread out evenly, not at all. So this is the crucial point. We have to understand where the action is really happening. A new king has been crowned in China's e-commerce world, and it happened way faster than almost anyone saw coming. Okay, just look at this chart. For ages, Tmall was the undisputed giant, right? But its sales have been slipping. JD.com, well, it's holding steady, doing its own thing. But then you look at Douyin. Oh my gosh. Its sales volume has absolutely exploded. It more than doubled in just 2 years, hitting a staggering 1,340 billion RMB. Now, what's really wild is what that explosion in sales did to the market share. I mean, this is the real story. In 2022, Tmall had over half the entire market. Just 2 years later, its share has cratered to about 30%. At the same time, Douyin has launched like a rocket, going from a third of the market to commanding nearly 60% of all online skincare sales. It's a total reversal of fortune. Okay, so now that we see this massive shift in power, let's zoom in, because this seismic change creates a completely different reality, and frankly, a different set of opportunities on each of these platforms. Let's start with Tmall, the former king. It isn't just losing its crown, it's now facing a really broad contraction across some of its most important product categories. Yeah, the data here shows an overall decline of 4% on the platform. And what's really got to be worrying for brands is that the core, high-volume stuff like skincare sets and sheet masks are shrinking big time, down 10% and almost 9%. It's clear the old playbook just isn't working on Tmall anymore. Now, if you hop over to JD.com, the story is totally different. It's not about crazy growth, but it's about stability. It's about being smart and finding success in very specific, high-value areas. And this table just illustrates their strategy perfectly. Yeah, overall growth is a pretty modest 4.3%, but that's being driven by a massive, almost 36% jump in medicated skincare. This tells you that JD has successfully carved out this reputation as the trusted place to go for specialized, serious products. And now, Douyin, the Chinese counterpart to TikTok. This isn't just growth. This is a straight-up gold rush. It's happening across almost every single category, and the numbers here, they're just on another planet. I mean, a staggering 41.2% growth overall. Your bread and butter categories like sets and essences are up around 50%. But then look at the emerging trends. Triple-digit growth in high-potential categories like wash-off masks and these single-dose essence products. This is where the innovation is happening. It's where trends are born and scaled, like, overnight. So, with all this platform chaos, which brands are actually navigating this new world successfully? Well, the winner's circle looks very, very different depending on where you look. The contrast here is just stark. On Tmall, you've got these legacy international brands like L'Oreal and Olay that are actually seeing their sales go down. But then on Douyin, not only are those same brands finding new life, but you've got domestic Chinese brands just surging ahead with insane triple-digit growth. And speaking of domestic brands, Proya has absolutely mastered this new multi-platform game. They managed to be #1 on Tmall, which is shrinking, while at the same time being #2 on Douyin, which is exploding, with over 71% growth. I mean, that is some seriously incredible strategic thinking. Even a global powerhouse like SKI tells this story perfectly. It's the top-selling brand on JD.com, which totally fits that platform's premium, trusted vibe. But over on Tmall, it's struggling. Sales are down nearly 10%. It's one brand with two completely different stories on two different platforms. All right, so that was a ton of data. What does it all mean in practice? Let's just boil everything we've seen down into 3 absolutely critical takeaways for any brand trying to make it in China today. First, and this is the big one, Douyin is the new center of gravity. It's not an emerging platform anymore. It's not a supplementary channel. With nearly 60% of the market and that kind of growth, it is the main battleground. It's where market share is going to be won or lost, period. Second takeaway. A one-size-fits-all approach is a recipe for complete disaster. What works on a search and buy platform like Tmall is going to fail miserably on a content and discovery platform like Douyin. Your strategy has to be deeply tailored to the audience, the algorithms, and the trends of each separate platform. And finally, the local brands, they've cracked the code. They are so nimble, they get the culture of these new content-driven platforms intuitively, and they are running circles around established global giants with live streaming and short videos. They are setting the pace, and now everyone else has to follow. Look, this report makes it crystal clear. Standing still is not an option. The ground has literally shifted beneath everyone's feet, so the only question left to ask is, in the next 24 months, which role is your brand going to play?